Hey up, I'm Guy Kestivan, the Tester Man, and this is my review of the Magicshine Monteer 8000 Galaxy V2, and the significance of that we will go into at the end of the review. And if you're a Patreon subscriber, Magicshine have also extended a 15% of subscriber offer, so that'll get it down to rough maths, so getting down to under 300 quid. Just full transparency, they did offer me an affiliate scheme where, as well as that, I would have got 10% kickback, but I was talking about it the other week and it just doesn't feel right. I don't feel right accepting money for reviews. Whether I'm recommending them or not, that just seems to muddy the waters too much. So there is no affiliate scheme on this. If you find my information useful and you want to join Patreon or you want to give me a YouTube gift, then absolutely fine. I'm not going to say no to that, but I don't want to link myself directly because that smacks a bit too much like selling. However honest I am about these reviews, that's a bit too close. But anyway, enough of that. You see, already, you see, it muddies the waters. Even when I'm saying I'm not doing affiliate, it already makes this all kind of weird and uncomfortable at the start. So that's why I'm steering clear of it. But anyway, so Magicshine 8000, as you might expect, 8,000 lumens at top whack on this light. I mean, I haven't measured that. I haven't got the kind of sphere that you need for measuring that, but they are tested according to all the normal lab standards. And that's a 4,800 flood. As you can see, you've got 3 LEDs across the top there, which give you a flood beam. It's not in the lens, it's not in the optics in front, it's actually in reflector at the back. And then underneath, you've got another 2 LEDs there that give you 1600 lumen spot. Sorry, 1600? Sorry, 1600 each, 3200 lumen spot. And you can actually set it up. So the neat thing is, if I can press the right button, there we go. Both are lit up there. And then you've got 4 modes, 100%, 50%, 25%, 10% and flash. And you can toggle through those with the remote, or if you double click, you can either have it spot or flood or both. So you can have it set up to sort of max power on one click and then your previous setting on the lower click. So you can either have it on a medium power or a really low power. So it's a really practical setup in terms of the modes and how you operate them. The only thing I would say is it's a bit of a faff to get the remote together, and if you're an idiot, you try and strap it without removing that bit. All you have to do actually is just pop that rubber bit off, and because it's like a loop strap, run the loop strap underneath and then pop that back on top and it works fine. But I was trying to be clever and trying to loop it through the end, and I ended up snapping that on the original remote. But you can buy the remotes separately, and they're really easy to pair. It's a Bluetooth remote, and for just having that convenience of being able to change modes without taking your hands off the bars, I'm a big fan of that, especially when you've got so many different power modes. In terms of capacity, it's 10,000 milliamp hours in there, and it works as a power bank, which is always useful. So you can just flip that cover off the end there and use it as a USB charger for other devices. You can see there's a little 3 LED indicator on there, and then on the top, when it's switched on, that's backlit green. Relatively easy to find. It's not a switch that you'll accidentally trigger very easily, so you're fine from that point of view, from a safety in the bag point of view. Although, you know, to be fair, I'd always unplug it while you're carrying it, just in case. And that will gradually go down to a red with 20% left, and then and then you like your limp home mode, which kicked in at 150 on average on the testing I did. That just drops it down to either the spot or the flood, depending which mode you have it in on the lowest on one of the lower power settings. And that gave me about 15 minutes. Once it started flashing, you properly need to skedaddle for home, get back to the van or wherever you are. But it's good, you know, and that's been consistent. I've done a bunch of rundown times on that, and that's been consistent. It holds, it's reasonably thermally efficient. It's ribbed all the way around. As long as there's some breeze going over it, This is happy running at high powers, and again, it's consistent lighting output right through. And because there's no refractors or anything in the front optic, it's actually a pretty clean pool of light. It's certainly not distracting, and because it's got that flood element, it's got it's got a really good peripheral, so it's not that straining on your eyes. It's quite a white colour. It's not a more natural warm colour, so that can get a little tiring in really glary situations, but if you back off on the power, it's fine. It comes with an offset Garmin style mount, hinged metal, so nice and tough, puts the light right in front of your bars, and there's more than enough cable to run it as a helmet light as well, because that head unit only weighs 130 grams, so you can get a little Garmin style. It's just that classic half-turn bayonet, but again, nice and secure, easy to take on and off, so you can leave that bracket on your bike if you want to. So, really practical mount, and obviously, having a separate battery pack means it's light on your bars and you can position this any way you want. However, there is a lot of cable there, and it's also quite a long flat battery, which can present problems putting it onto some frames, if it's a curved frame or a small frame, or you have got to think, make sure you've got somewhere on your frame that you can spot that. And because that's only that's your real source of any battery information, is your little 3 LED display there, it makes sense if you can get that somewhere where you can see it easily at the press of a button, because otherwise it's not the easiest thing to read. And that would be a bonus if there was a sort of more accurate runtime indicator, say on the head unit. In terms of waterproofing, it's IPX5 throughout, which is water spray is fine, but don't submerge it. And I was chatting on about the runtimes on that. So I'd say about 2 hours realistically on this light at full power. But full power is, like I say, 8,000 lumens, which is you need that so rarely on the trail that that's you're pretty much any ride. I mean, you can run it at right down to, even 10% is 800 lumens, and that's enough for cruising quite happily, even on relatively technical trails. And that's obviously going to give you about 20 hours run time. So really, really effectively a really good run time. So the fact that they say it's 2.5 hours, but it's only 2, I'm not massively bothered about that. The one thing that has come up a lot in comments is wiring issues. Now, I actually spoke to Magicshine UK about this. They were really open and responsive about it, and they said, yeah, there were some issues with the V1, but the V2 is out now, which has hopefully solved all of those. And they said in a lot of cases, it was actually caused by people there were some talk of like soldering coming loose in the head unit and stuff from people in the comments. And obviously, I can't ratify anything you're saying in the comments, and I can only speak from what I've heard of the manufacturer. But obviously, it's really useful if you do have some feedback, if you could get in the comments on this, and then people can make up their own mind. But they were saying a lot of the problems come from people sort of wrapping this cable too tightly around the frame or around the stem or whatever, and that eventually cracking the wiring inside the cable. And that's something that they've really worked on with the V2. They've got a different plug on there as well. However, the one light I do know that someone's ordered recently, the latest V2, they got it through and it switched on once, and then it didn't switch on again. Now, to their credit, again, Magicshine UK, as soon as they heard about the problem, they've got a spare head unit and spare battery in the post straight away to bring the guy who had the problem. So hopefully that sorted it out. But it would be better if that hadn't happened, obviously, for their reputation. But like I say, I've got to be totally honest here and talk through the experiences that I've had with it, which have been absolutely fine. Zero issues with this, zero issues with the 3500 Monteer, and zero issues with a very, very old 3000 lumen all-in-one light that I've been running. They've all been absolutely fine for me, but I'm not going to gloss over the fact that a lot of people in the comments have had issues, and that my mate Bryn also had an issue with his. So that's for you to make your mind on. But in terms of practical performance, in terms of output, in terms of quality output, in terms of mode selection, having the remote and having a good, stable, simple mount and a setup that will work on either bars or helmet, this Magicshine Monteer 8000 has a hell of a lot going for it for the price. But this is not the only light we're reviewing, so there'll be similar lights from Raveman in this category, and then less powerful, less expensive lights, right down to sub 100 quid, cheap and cheerful numbers. So make sure you stay tuned over the next few days to get all those lights review. And if you're not sure what I've been talking about halfway through this, I've done a how to choose your perfect lights feature, and I'll stick that as the link video at the end of this. And while I won't be testing it here, if you don't think that 8,000 lumens is enough, despite having seen the trail usage footage on this in this review, Magicshine also do a 12,000 lumen version of this Monteer. So I won't be testing it, but if you want the brightest light on the hill, then go and have a look on that on Magicshine UK. Sorry, and I should say buying from Magicshine UK is definitely the best idea in terms of getting support in the UK rather than buying direct, which obviously potentially had delays and disconnections along the way. So thanks to those guys for sending this light in, and as I said, there is a Patreon offer if this light takes your fancy.